Good afternoon. I hereby call this agenda review meeting of Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that the quorum is present. Only Reverend Irwin unable to attend today's meeting. Today, all items on the agenda are for discussions only. No voting takes place at this meeting. Thank you for joining us, and please turn your cell phone to the silent mode. At this portion, we have public comments, and we have not received any interest to address the board. However, those who are interested to address the board in the future meetings, the instructions are included on meeting notice, which is normally posted at least 72 hours in advance. Okay, at this section, we move into consent agenda. This portion of meeting, we will discuss items from consent agenda. No action will be taken on these items. Item A is board meeting minutes. Board members, are there any questions concerning board meeting minutes? No? Okay, we move on to the business office report. Mr. Ben Eberlein, our Chief Financial Officer, will be respond to this question. Donations under $2,500.
Yes, sir. President Nirman, Board of Trustees, Dr. Superintendent Trio. We're going to do our gifts and donations under $2,500 for Nacogdoches High School. We received $125 from Thelma Trujillo for Dragon SRT for supplies, $250 from Commercial Bank of Texas for Dragon SRT for supplies, $500 from E-Tech for Dragon SRT for supplies, $2,354.50 from Vertical Rays for Dragon SRT for supplies, $250 from Cassandra and Gary Stokes for NJROTC for supplies, and $200 from Christ the Savior Orthodox Church for NJROTC for supplies. For TJR, they received $250 from Cadence Bank for the Spelling Bee fundraiser.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next, we move to investment report.
President Farshid, before you get started, I just wanted to make sure, Mr. Lucina, thank you so much for our leadership with the NJROTC, the gentleman that's there. If the board recognizes we're getting some great feedback from the community and the great support for that organization. So great job in being the headhunter to find this person and bringing them to Nacogdoches and making a program so successful. It couldn't have been done without your leadership and finding not just him, but the rest of your leadership that's there. If the board will recognize almost every time that we've met, you see some kind of donation that's going to them. It's because our community is realizing that we have this program and it's really flourishing and doing really well. And I think they had an inspection last week and it went extremely well. Or was it the week before? And it went extremely well from the inspection that they had. So excited about that. I just want to make sure the board sees that the community is seeing the value and we're recognizing that by the support that they're getting that's there. I just wanted to make sure to put that plug in there for the board.
Actually, there are some people still unaware that we have that program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Eberlein, is you on investment report?
Yes, sir. It's just our investment report that we get every month. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Those numbers are so above my head that I can't think of any. Okay. Board, is there any questions concerning the investment report? If it's not, we go to miscellaneous business office report.
Yes, sir. It's just our general reports that we have every month. We have a reconciliation, summary of revenues and expenditures for all funds, summary expenditure status for the general fund, the check register by date and vendor, and there is no tax collection report this month, but we'll get that to you as soon as we can.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Item C is the second reading of TASB Policy Update 124. Mr. Michael Martin, Deputy Superintendent.
Good afternoon, President Nirmal, members of the board, and Dr. Trujillo. What you have before you is Policy Update 124, which included revisions to both legal and local policies. Although the legal policies are included in the policy manual and TASB. Only the local policies are to be considered for the board's approval. This is the second reading for the board, and the administration has vetted all of the policies that we are putting forward for the board, and recommend the board's second reading approval.
Okay, board, any questions, any comment on that? Okay, next we move to item D, second reading of addition, revision, deletion of local policies resulting from the policy review session. Again, Mr. Michael Martin.
Thanks, President Norman. On January 22nd and 23rd of 2025, the administration took it upon themselves to do a policy review with a TASB consultant from TASB Policy Services. And the following are just second readings of policies that we wanted to clean up, that we wanted to make sure that our practices align with the policy, and also to save a few dollars with the maintenance of the board book by changing those policies back to original TASB recommendations. We'll be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
All those corrections, updated are on the internet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
President Fashid, one item that you may or may not see there, but will be possibly coming in a future meeting, is the review and the conversation that deals with standard of dress that the board had put in place. So once that committee has convened, and making sure that we have the changes that are there that can address that standard of dress, that information. So Mr. Martin will have that information as well, so.
Okay, sir. Next is item 8, certification of provision of instructional materials for 2025-2026. Dr. Jolene Curley, Chief Executive.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Trujillo, and President Nurman. I'm presenting the annual approval of the certification of provision of instructional materials, and this can be located in your board book on page 720. There was a correction that I want to state on the K-5 math section. That's on page 13 if you have a paper copy, or it's on page 734 of the board book. I had inadvertently left off Bluebonnet mathematics for English after I included the Spanish version of that instructional material. Each year, the district is required to update this list of materials that are aligned to the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills used at each grade level, and to certify compliance with the Children's Protection Act. Upon board approval and signing, the information is submitted to the Texas Education Agency. Please let us know if you have any questions.
I was reading, maybe I was reading wrong side, or some ticks are due on May, am I correct?
I'm sorry?
Some ticks are due in May, or some information was due on May, correct?
Yes, sir. This document is actually due to TEA on May 1st. Once we submit it to TEA, it opens up our EMAT portal so that we can continue to order our materials and receive them on a timely basis.
The reason I was asking, because board president had to sign, I didn't want to sign something I didn't know.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That's correct.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next, we have Open Education Resources, better known as OER, Instructional Materials, Transition Plan. Again, Dr. Curley.
Yes, sir. Hello again, everyone. The Open Education Resources Instructional Material Transition Plan is a new requirement that's established by House Bill 1605. This can be located on page 747 of the board book. And this plan addresses multiple systems within the district to ensure that we have an effective implementation plan and practice. Within the plans, you would find specific goals and action steps that address the implementation process itself, to include schedules and calendars, expectations for instructional planning and delivery, and professional learning for our district campus administrators and our teachers. The plan requires board approval. It is maintained locally, and it is a working document. We're seeking board approval for the Open Education Resource Transitional Plan.
Any question, board? Okay, thank you. Now, we have memorandum of understanding with Hoover College, Dr. Dale Hill, Assistant Superintendent.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I have my
Sure.
papers out of order. I apologize for that.
Don't feel bad.
So this is our MOU. It's brand new for us. Hanover College is actually located in Indiana. It is an online program that produces or offers the degree of Doctor of Physical Therapy as well as Doctor of Occupational Therapy. This organization reached out to Kaylee Hughes, our Executive Director for Special Education, because we will have one student clinician that would like to be in our district next year and serving in this capacity. So Fisher Firm has gone through this document for us to make sure that it is legally up to par for us. And so today we are seeking, or on Thursday night, we are seeking your approval to enter into this agreement with Hanover.
When you say it's up to par, you mean it's accredited college?
Well, it is accredited, but what I meant is that Ms. Kelly Karcheski and Ms. Kendra Walters have gone through it at the Fisher Farm, and so they are making sure that it is, we are protected as we enter into this agreement.
Thank you.
You bet.
Next is item H, is memorandum of understanding with STARS College Network.
Thank you, President Nuramon, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Trujillo. This also is another MOU that we are entering into. STARS, not to be confused with our Texas Accountability System, but it is a small town and rural schools college network that partners with 32 top colleges such as Brown, Yale, Duke, MIT, SMU, Vanderbilt, and Notre Dame. This would be a 3-year pilot program. They would work in conjunction with our Go Center at the high school, so with right alongside with Rose Staniland as well as Lindsay McLemore. This also has been vetted by the Fisher Firm, so we know that it is, again, up to par from a legal standard. This will just further enhance what we already do in our Go Center, but will provide some additional resources for us and our students and our parents.
Board, do you all have any comment or question? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Next is item I, election service contract for the May 3rd, 2025 Board of Trustees election. Dr. Trujillo.
Yes, Board, Nacogdoches ISD contracts with Nacogdoches County of Election Services with the Board of Trustees for the election. The county provides valuable services that include all equipment rental, accuracy testing, and preparation for electronic voting equipment. The ballot orders and trained election workers tally the election results and post-election results. For the 2025 election, early voting, and election day voting will be conducted at the Nacogdoches County Courthouse. The budgeted cost for this is $7,001.02 from the Board of Trustees election budget. So what we're doing is presenting this for approval, that the election services contract between Nacogdoches County and the Nacogdoches ISD for May 3rd, 2025 Board Trustees election.
Thank you, sir. Again, Board, comments, questions? If not, we move into action, discussion action agenda. We have 2 items on the discussion action portion of agenda, starting with first reading of revised policy, local policy, FNC, student conduct, and student dress code. Mr. Michael Martin.
Thank you again, President Nuramon, Board of Trustees. To Dr. Trujillo's earlier point, the administration is recommending removing the standardized dress requirement from policy FNCA local and incorporating it into administrative regulations for greater flexibility and responsiveness. While standardized dress will no longer be part of the board policy, guidelines for appropriate student attire will be maintained and managed at the administrative level to ensure consistency and adaptability.
Okay, Board, do you have any comments?
We'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have about.
Ms. Hart, any comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
So, will there actually be a written policy somewhere about what's required, like in the administration or at the schools, so that you can, if a parent asks or a student asks, We can just, here's the policy right here.
Dr. Groman, they do have it at FNCA. It's what's referenced a lot of times for our high school, because the high school does not have a standard address, so it's much more on the general guidelines. So to a parent that's out there, it's also, I think, aligned with TASB, right? So there's no added language that's in there. Actually, the policy, so as a matter of record for any parents who are watching, says students shall be dressed and groomed in a manner that is clean and neat, and that will not be a health or safety hazard to themselves or others. The district prohibits any clothing or grooming that is, in the principal's judgment, may reasonably be expected to cause disruption or interference in a normal school day. That's typically what our principals at the high school and secondary do. We do outline, though, the district prohibits pictures, emblems, and writings on clothing that are lewd, offensive, vulgar, or obscene. Number 2, advertise or depicts tobacco products, alcohol beverages, drugs, and any other substance prohibited by FNCF legal. So it does reference, so parents do come in. We do have a policy, but it's not as restrictive as it has been for our elementary campuses, and we want to make sure that we're consistent with that, so.
I'm going to ask the parent version. You're meaning my current elementary age children are not required to wear a solid colored polo with khaki pants. And move into my middle school's clothing requirements that are, as Dr. Trujillo just outlined.
Yeah, this is important to know.
Just clarifying, that sounded very fancy, I read the words, but I'm just going to parent brain that, translate.
Yeah, but basically, and I appreciate the board taking in consideration. We have to understand the policy that we were restricting with our elementary grades. That was set in place before the school district actually qualified for complete free lunch for our families. That means that all of our families qualify for that. But then we have a policy that is extremely restrictive that requires parents to travel to possibly Lufkin or even Tyler to get clothing in order to attend school in Nacogdoches.
Yep.
So the two didn't align with themselves. We qualified for free lunch, which means that we have a need economically in the families, but we were stressing our families with restrictive clothing.
Yep.
So this puts us in alignment to say, let's make sure that we treat our families, and of course, the principals and campuses, they'll be able to make decisions on their best interest, but also to Ms. Pitcock's point is the same kinds of dress that we have for the middle school and high school is going to be the same thing, but I'm going to have Dr. Hill speak to it, because she's been working with it on the secondary side of it, so.
Dr. Groman, to your question too, there's also on our website, under Parents and Families, there is a 24-25 dress code. Currently, it states what we have standardized dress for elementary, but there is a link specifically for secondary and high school. So I can only assume that there's going to be another place online where both are going to be listed for additional
place for them to see that,
information for our families.
Okay, board?
Well, I'd like to make a comment. Parents, we're definitely thinking of you, because this is very restrictive.
Yeah.
But I just have to say this, as a grandparent, this takes away, well, as far as my granddaughters are concerned, the only reason to look forward to going to middle school.
That was real. Yeah.
Okay, board, if there is no objection, we can move this item to consent agenda. Are there any objection? Okay, Ms. Anderson, that goes to consent agenda. Next item is item B, with consideration and possibly approve a resolution approving an interlocal agreement for resale of tax foreclosed properties pursuant to Texas Tax Code 34.05. Mr. Eberlein.
Before he starts with this is something that we started several years ago with our previous CFO, and something we're continuing with Brandon in Purdue. We wanted to make certain that this item here be presented to the board prior to my leaving Nacogdoches ISD, because it's something that's been very important in development. We do have property that is infill throughout Nacogdoches, and we become property owners. And we want to move away from becoming property owners. We're in the business of education. not landlords and property owners. And we can partner up with the city to see and put these back on the tax roll so that they can go ahead and take the initiative to build those properties back up. And now we have possible families that can move in these areas and come back and attend this glorious school district of Nacogdoches ISD. So I'm going to hand it over to Ben, and he'll give you the nitty gritty because he's an amazing presenter. That's your own word, sir, so I'll just use this. He said that last time, so he's an amazing presenter.
Mr. Appleton, I can bail you out. On next Thursday, when we have a board meeting, Patrick Wood's going to be here and goes to extreme detail how it works. Okay. So just go ahead and touch the base.
Yes, sir. So it's actually going to be a three-way resolution with the city and the county and the ISD for us to possibly no longer be the trustee for certain tax delinquent properties that do not sell at foreclosure or at auction. So, like you said, Mr. Patrick Woods with Purdue Brandon will be here to go in deep detail if we would like, and if you have any questions, he'd be happy to answer them.
Very good, thank you. Now, the board will now conduct an executive closed session to discuss items posted on our agenda pursuant to the following provision of Texas Open Meeting Act and as allowed by Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.129. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as the result of discussions in the closed meeting is when the board reconvenes into open session. At this time is 12:22 minutes.
We'll be back at 1.
We should be back hopefully by 1. Board is now reconvening into open session, and time is 1:12 p.m. Board members, is there any, or are there any requests for future agenda issues?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to request that a recommendation for donation from Friends of Historic Nacogdoches, Inc. address us on Thursday.
Yes. Okay. Ms. Anderson, do we? I've got that. Okay. With that, I am asking for a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor indicate saying aye.
Aye.
We adjourn. Thank you, Board. See you Thursday, 5 p.m.
Get down.